I'd like to welcome all of you to Blue Light at the Gallery. We have a really exciting lineup of poets and guests, and I want to thank all of you for coming. So, our first poet is Sandra Anfang, author of Rara Avis for the Birds. Sandra Anfang is a poet and Sunday painter who lives in the greener part of Las Vegas, Nevada. She's the author of 5 poetry collections and has numerous publications and awards to her credit. Her latest book is Rara Avis from Kelsay. She's the founder and co-host of Rivertown Poets since 2013, and that is absolutely one of the best reading series for open mic in Northern California. And she continues to conduct poetry play shops in her new neighborhood. Okay, Sandy, you're on.
Thank you so much, Diane, and I appreciate the plug for Rivertown Poets, and we're always happy to see you there. All right, I am going to read from Rara Avis for the Birds. I wanted to tell you that this gorgeous cover photo was taken by my friend Guy Biederman, who lives on a houseboat in Sausalito, and even though he's not a trained photographer, all his photos are gorgeous, partly because of his eye and because of where he lives. First poem, Avian Dreams, and Abbe Sedarian. I love Abbe Sedarians. As she stirred, the dream dissolved, but a wraith-like figure lingered to cull her from the catacomb of sleep. Deeper into flannel she burrowed, elongating the ghostly vowels that swathed her tongue. Find the boy and bring him home. Gradually she faced the light that harpooned the room with its long fingers, insisting that she get up and move about the house. Jacksnipes, with their throaty whistles, filled the garden. Kingfishers plummeted from the roofs of beach chalets. Larks and lapwings chorused through the open window, while a mockingbird mimicked the neighbor's Siamese. Nuthatches built a nest in the sweet gum tree, and orioles stole sugar from the hummingbird feeder. Plovers warmed their eggs in beach grass. Quails shuttled back and forth along the fences, raconteurs of salacious gossip. Sandhill cranes erupted from a neighbor's field, their legs defining a new genre. The ursine chow shook its fur in resignation in the vacuum of its hunting failure. Waxwings clustered at the feeder, crossing the sky with geometric japery, while the yellow-fronted woodpecker tapped out a message in Morse code. Zebra finches carried the sun on their wings. Thank you. The next is a short little poem. It's called Food Chain. Each night, Coyote takes a bigger bite of the neighborhood. Last night, he leapt the fence. The cats stalk the back door, fur coats loosening like meat shaking off a bone. Everyone in, I call. For once, they listen. Worry flares like lightning in their agate eyes. Their bodies twitch and ripple as a fresh howl passes through each skull and rings the twin bells of their amygdalae. I usher them to safety. Just before dark, I spy a fan of charcoal feathers under the pink magnolia. Cats and coyotes don't take no prisoners. Thank you. This is a sort of love poem. Forget Me Not. I really miss the turkeys of Sonoma County. At 8 a.m., I cruise the slumbering neighborhood, silent under its green comforter. At the fence line, I spy the turkey clan, 13 strong, coaxing worms from a scrabbled patch of ground. I want to tell them there's a virgin hillside here, teeming with life, but they never look up or question the clouds, the fecundity of soil. In the evening, I stop for them on the boulevard, drunk barflies zigzagging across asphalt, peppering the air with feathers. The young bring up the rear, the blushing scrotums of their wattles, swinging pendulums. I lift a hand to my neck to finger my own creping skin while I absorb their dharma of slowness, savoring wanderlust. I know that you have seen them too. I signal to you with this forget me not. Thank you. Here's one inspired by Ellery Acres' workshop. Poem written by a body of water. We make our steep descent ford the creek where it snakes in chiaroscuro swatches of purple and green. Here are bluebellies, their neon jackets pilfered from peacocks. Here are alligator lizards that scuttle into pearly everlasting, tails strewn along the path like tire sheds. Here float cougar streams, whispered in a mirage of summer heat. Aging mares graze here, sway-backed as old porch swings. Here are turkey-tail mushrooms fruiting a dead limb. Tire, time treads air in the skeletal oak, one knothole broken through, a monocle for great-horned owl. That's a wonderful tree in Helen Putnam Park in Petaluma. You might know it, Robert. This next poem, Naked Ladies, which is the name for those beautiful pink lilies that grow wild in the summer, starting in July all over Petaluma, and I'm sure a lot of other places, uh, um, Pescadero and Half Moon Bay too. I wrote this at a CPIT symposium that was down in San Juan Bautista. We were staying at a Catholic retreat center. There was hardly any internet, and I got up early one morning and walked the Stations of the Cross. I have never been a Catholic, I never will be, but I love Catholic ritual and I love walking the Stations of the Cross whenever I see it. So I had nowhere to write it down, and I just had to keep reciting the poem as it came to me to remember it. Naked Ladies. At dawn, I walk the Stations of the Cross in my tie-dyed dragonfly dress. Nabokov's white moths flit through my head. A pair of does cross the path, veer close. I croon to them and toss them my apple core. As I walk, I meditate, mind filled with the musk of sage and rosemary for remembrance. I come to the stucco rectory, blanketed by naked ladies. The irony makes me laugh. Pink lilies, arabesque in tutus, sweetness titillates my nose, brown stems like legs in 40 stockings. Father Girasselli lives here, the priest who chatted us up at lunch, smiling through his polo shirt disguise, outlining his family tree, 5 generations of Italians traced back to a crook in Genoa. The word sticks in my craw, crook, crooked crock. I think of Jacob with his rough-hewn staff. We're all crooked in some way, bent, broken, neurodivergent, our flaws worn close to the vest or on display, like Gareth, the poet with 3 strikes, young, autistic, transgender, who slammed it at the open mic and stole our tongues, his hands white doves that soared then quavered at his hips. We're all crooked, and amen to that. I linger at the frog pond's wild knot, inhale the rasps of ducks and black-tailed kites. I write a letter on the sky. Dear Father, you've got to love the crooked with the straight. Then I pause before a makeshift shrine, a white stone effigy of Mary, hands cocooned in prayer. 2 girls in nun's garb flank her, and a small boy with a wooden staff who looks like he's done something bad, like dipping their braids in the inkwell or kicking the dog. Beside him, the omnipresent lamb, Agnus Dei, emblem of innocence. Pink lilies cluster round their feet, waving from cottage cheese containers. I picture the father sequestered in his rooms, wrestling with his private demons, while the panoply of crooked life raps at the gate, wanting in. I will, thank you so much. I will read one more from this book and then one newer poem. I've been writing with Molly Fisk in August. She's posted a lot of visual prompts. And, when you're hobbled by like an injury and you can't go play pickleball and go swimming and go to yoga, it is sure great to have hobbies like writing and art. I think I've gone crazy without them. So I have been writing a lot. This is called Liminality after Pamela Alexander's Crossing. I am rock and sky and the seam that welds them. I am the liman between your hip bone and the comforter's kiss. I am the earthworm stitching seed to soil with the silk of slug saliva. I am the sun gold tomatoes, first shoot, pushing up through soil. I am the Cooper's hawk, chalking contrails on cornflower skies. I am the keening of a dying man alone in his hospital cell. I am your name inscribed on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. I am a blood collage on the undercarriage of your skin. I am the marriage of bee and bud in the sylvan chapel. I am the bellows that push and pull the storm front, creating wind. I am the animus in you, and you the animus anima in me. How beguiling we look, clasping hands in the funhouse mirror. So those are all from Rara Avis, and I'll put the order information for that in the chat when I finished. And one of the 9 or 10 new poems I wrote this month. The prompt was a photo of a sculpture in the Lower East Side in Manhattan, where my parents used to take us sometimes on Sundays. Lower East Side. On Sundays, we'd be wakened early, stagger from our beds, too tired to wash the sleep crust from our eyes. Piling into the faded Buick, we trundled toward Manhattan and the Lower East Side, where Grandpa plied his trade in cloth. I remember the crowds, the giants in colorless sacks, eclipsed by the reds and yellows and the racks of dresses, wheeling breakneck through the streets. Pigeons in iridescent purple coats, foreign sounds and urban verve were a keyhole to a larger life. The men spoke Yiddish, a tongue I grokked only when my name popped up. Lobstered by my mother's claw, we pushed through the human crush, the hawkers shouting, "Clothes for sale, latest styles," words that would feed their children for another week. Images of this world are seared into my cells, a place that shepherded my mother and her sister through school, decked out to the nines, while their own mother mopped in a scorched apron and broken shoes. Downtown with their dad, they'd ogle mannequins in bonwits and sacks, and he would hand them suits and dresses like Rumpelstiltskin spinning straw into gold. Thank you so much for listening.